where judgments are simply a matter of taste. Contestants will compete in one round, giving them only one opportunity to show their best baking, as well as argumentative skill. Contestants will be judged on taste as well as their method of baking. Now let's introduce today's contestants.
My name is Abigail Woodall and I'm from Houston, Texas. I started baking when I was 6 years old and I've fallen in love with it ever since. Every year I bake for our big family barbecue and it's always a hit. Whether it comes to peach cobbler or a delicious pecan pie, I'm the girl for the job.
My name is Maddie Holmes and I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Roll Tide! My great-grandma Dolores taught me how to bake the minute I came out the womb. She passed away recently and I'm doing this in her honor. I'm just keeping the family tradition of baking alive. This is for you, Granny D.
So how do you think today's competition is going to go?
Well, my only concern is that my fellow competitor has been baking for a much longer time than I have. But using my power of deduction, I think it's reasonable to assume that she has a leg up in the competition. However, don't underestimate the power of us Texans. Don't mess with Texas.
Okay, bakers, so let's get down to the rules. Each of you will be required to make at least a three-layer cake consisting of limitations, a real-life situation, and a connection to your way of doing. You're given access to as many ingredients and resources as you need, so no complaining. Now, bakers, go to your stations. You will have 2 hours to make your cakes. Ready? Begin. So Abigail, tell me a little bit of what you made.
Well, for my first tier, I'm doing a simple vanilla layer. My second tier, I'm going to stack a chocolate layer, and then on top, I'm going to do a marble layer.
Sounds great. It seems like you Texans know what you're doing. Okay. Now, Maddie, give us a little insight.
Well, instead of doing a simple and bland cake like my fellow competitor, I decided to add some more lively flavors. For my first layer, I'm making a sweet strawberry cake. Then, with the middle layer, I'm going to make a lemon cake, and to top it all off with a layer of dark chocolate.
Welcome back to Tokake Off. Maddie and Abigail are now ready for the assembling of their ethical cakes. Each layers that the bakers make will represent the following: connections to ethics, limitations, and real-life situations. Cakes. Maddie, we will start with you. Can you go over each of your layers and what they represent?
Okay, so first with the foundation of my cake, we'll have the strawberry layer. This is going to represent the connection between sense perception and ethics. First, it is important to know what sense perception is. Basically, sense perception is a way of knowing relates to how individuals understand their senses. But how can this connect to ethics? Well, differences in our experiences, which involve sense perception as they are stimulated from the senses we use, affect our ability to make decisions as they are based on our sensory experiences. Now on to the next layer. Here I have the lemon layer, which is going to represent the limitations when it comes to sense perception and ethics. With sense perception, everyone perceives things differently. And when this ties into ethics, it is fair to say that because of everyone's varying perceptions, then everyone's ethical perceptions are different and never the same. And from this, more ethical issues may arise. This can relate to theories like the slippery slope theory, where one difference in ethical perception can lead to an issue, and another difference in another issue, and so on. Lastly, I have this dark chocolate layer, a perfect layer to top this Tokake Off. This layer represents an example of a real-life situation. These are essential for TOK. In North Carolina, the Beckler Museum of Modern Art has an exhibit where visually impaired people can feel the artwork. If ethics is all about what we should or shouldn't value, then this real-life situation brings us to the question, do we value the creator or value giving the experience of art for the visually impaired? And there you have it. Those are my ethical fused sense perception layers.
Looks great, Maddie. I'll let you put your finishing touches on your masterpiece while we check in with Abigail. We will see you at the judgment table.
Hey Sandra, thanks for checking in. So my first layer is going to be a simple yet delicious vanilla cake. In comparison to Maddie's, mine is going to represent the connection between reason and ethics. So what is this connection? Well, let's start with defining what reason is. Reason, defined by the Oxford English Dictionary, is the power of the mind to think, understand, and form judgments logically. From this, we can make a connection to ethics because sometimes the outcomes of events we deem as ethical or unethical are based on our reasoning for them being that way. So now for my second layer, I have the chocolate layer, which I will use to represent the limitations that arise when connecting reason and ethics. Well, for this connection between reason and ethics, I thought it would be nice to examine the moral sense theory. Now, what is that? I don't have time to get out into the nitty-gritty because I still have to decorate. But basically, according to this approach, our basic reactions to moral and ethical behavior, such as when we approve of good actions and disapprove of bad actions, flow from our natural sentiments, not from our reason. So, we find this as a limitation because often our judgments between what is right and wrong are in fact not based on reason. Now, last but not least, I have my marble cake layer, which will represent an example of a real-life situation relating to ethics, which is the last element I need to complete my masterpiece of a cake. One ethical problem I have seen brought up before is that of government-imposed population controls. Many issues arise with this, as officials must choose whether it is ethical or unethical to limit the amount of children wanted in a family. It seems reasonable from the government's point of view to impose this, as they are responsible for covering the financial and legal obligations of their citizens. But at the same time, it appears unethical to prohibit someone from having their choice amount of children. And that's it, y'all. The sweetest tasting reason cake you'll ever try.
Okay, bakers, time's up. Now let's see those final presentations.